Hi, and welcome to Things You Didn't Ask For and Didn't Need to Know. And this is our new format where we do our rambling, talking about random stuff on one episode and our main topic on another. So you're now listening to the random stuff. And I'm Barry.
I'm Donal.
And I'm Mart.
And as usual, if you're enjoying the show, like, subscribe, hit that bell, all that kind of stuff on whatever medium you partake of the podcast in, and leave a comment on YouTube if you want to. We read them all and we love them. Thanks a million for everyone who has done. So I'll start off with one small little thing. Have a guess, guys, how many bathrooms or toilets are in the Pentagon?
Oh,
I don't even know how many people work there. I have no idea.
wait a second. Let's guess how many people work there for a start.
Yeah, guess how many people work in the Pentagon?
Definitely over 1,000. Definitely under 100,000. With that,
That's a pretty big
well,
safe
no.
net.
No, wait a second. I'm usually good at guesses when I just figure
I'm
stuff
going to
out.
guess 6,000.
Okay.
That's a good guess.
No, I feel like that's way over.
No, that's actually a good
I'm
guess.
a little bit embarrassed already.
I'm actually going
should
to
be.
say. I'm going to say.
Say it.
I'm going to say there is in the building.
Say
I'm
it.
going to say there's 15,000 people working there.
15,000.
Yep.
There's 6,000.
But remember Father Dougal and Father Ted? I'm no expert at estimating crowds, Ted, but I think there must be 1 million people out there.
Well, put it this way. Do you know the Pentagon in the middle of the Pentagon?
Yeah.
So that's actually like a little grassy trees and stuff. That's 5 acres.
I'm not really clear on what an acre is.
Oh,
But
it's huge. It's
Okay.
it's big. It's a big plot of land in the middle of it. There are 23,000 people working in the Pentagon.
23,000.
I was close enough.
You weren't too far off. You weren't too
Dang.
far off.
I thought it was over.
Yeah. You would think that like 6,000 sounds like a lot of people.
Yeah, because the Twin Towers had how many people? Well, none of us know, but there was basically thousands and thousands and thousands of people working in the Twin Towers.
There's 284 toilets in the Pentagon.
Wow.
Do you know why there's that many?
Because there's 29,000 people working there.
23,000.
23,000.
It doesn't seem like a lot of
Wait a
toilets. to be
second,
honest.
that's a dreadful proportion of
Yeah.
toilet.
It's double the amount you would need for a building that size.
Huh?
Oh, I know
Wait a
why.
second.
I know why.
Oh, go on.
Well, I don't know why I'm guessing. Here's why I guess. Because of all the different security clearances,
Nope.
people. Oh, okay then. What?
It's because of all the different skin colors, or two in particular.
Oh, right.
Where is it?
Because
Built-
the-
It
You're
was
bringing
built
us back
with
to the 50s and 60s in a
It was
bad
built-
time.
yes,
right?
yes.
It was built with segregation plans,
Oh my
even
God.
though that was illegal at the time. And apparently, I can't remember the president at the time, was it Roosevelt or someone like that, who just lost his shit over it. And he said, there's no fucking way you guys are segregating the bathrooms. Keep all the bathrooms because you've built them now, you fuckers, but you're not segregating them. So yeah, and apparently it only takes about 8 minutes to get from any point in the Pentagon to another point, or less than 10 minutes to get from one point to another because of the way it's laid out and designed. That Pentagon design is for efficiency.
So it's not satanic at all.
No, nothing to do with that at all.
Although if you light a candle on each of the corners and say a thing in the middle of the acre area.
Yeah, the 5 acre
Chant.
area, it would be that. So yeah, that's my little factoid for you. What do you guys have?
well,
anything for me?
what's really interesting about the Pentagon, actually, and I remember we were, myself and the girls visited, like friends we have in Washington, and it was really cool. It was really, really cool seeing the actual Pentagon. Now, but by seeing the Pentagon, we definitely should have gone for a tour or something to actually go into it if we could. But we saw it from afar. From afar, it just looked like a huge, low building. You know, because it's spread out so much, and it's only
Because it's huge and it's only about 5 stories.
it's
high.
only 5 stories. And I don't know how many stories it is, but it's not very. There's not very many stories. But the same person that was in charge of designing the Pentagon designed the program of the Manhattan Project.
The program.
Yeah,
What's the program of the Manhattan Project?
as in. Oh, what is the name? I will get his name.
We don't really need the name of the guy, but you mean like program as a computer program?
This is
Or
a computer-
as in
No,
he
God,
designed the
no, no,
Manhattan
no.
Project
This
plans?
This is what we have to do first. This is the next thing we have to do.
Yeah,
This is the next thing.
as in.
He was the project manager.
He was the project manager, but
Okay.
he was from the military, and he's the person that finalized everything. So you know the way that the Have you seen the project, the atomic bomb film that came out recently?
Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer.
No,
No.
not yet.
Okay. It's not a spoiler to say that Oppenheimer was hired by someone. This person is the person that hired Oppenheimer is the person who designed the Pentagon.
Ah, okay.
I think it's usually
Who was in
safe.
charge of designing the Pentagon. He was like the guy who got stuff done.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
So I don't know why we're talking about the Pentagon so much, but now
Yeah.
I'm going to ask a Pentagon question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you believe that in 9/11, 2001, a plane hit the Pentagon?
Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Wait a second.
Do you not?
Do you believe the Earth is round?
Yes.
Do you believe the moon landing is real?
Yes.
No, I'm joking. But no, there was a very real conspiracy theory at
I
the
know.
time.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
And I actually remember when I saw it first, and this is really early days. You didn't know what was going on. But there was some French guys put all together loads of photographs and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
there was
they
it was like a documentary. Yeah.
Well, no, not a documentary.
Oh.
There was a documentary called Loose Change.
Yeah.
That's really good. Well, really entertaining. But no, they just had a website called spottheplane.com or something like that. And it just shows the damage, the debris field, all this kind of stuff. And it posits I'm going to say conspiracy theory, that no plane hit the Pentagon. And by the way, I think we should do an episode on conspiracy theories.
Oh, yeah,
that would be a very lot of talk
definitely,
about.
yeah.
But there was a lot of suggestion that a plane didn't hit the Pentagon, that this stuff was going down, everyone was scared, planes were hitting buildings, and then, a missile hit the Pentagon, masquerading as a plane because, some dark ops government agency knew they would get away with doing it. I actually kind of considered the possibility that it was real at the time, did my own kind of, I hate this phrase, but did my own research. I kind of...
Why do you hate that phrase?
Well, it's
Because
almost
it's the
become...
most tin hat.
It's
tinfoil
associated with conspiracy theorists because I hate the phrase, but I also hate the disdain of the phrase. Okay. Because do your own research is kind of like the war cry of someone who doesn't just blindly believe everything that the government tells you, which is definitely a healthy approach. Like, Russians who go into the war in Ukraine, they're invading another country. But how do they see themselves? They see themselves as the Allies storming Normandy Beach to save the Jews from the Nazis. That's what they believe.
Yeah, because that's just justification that they've been given.
Yeah, so, maybe they should have done their own research. Maybe they should question the things they're hearing. So it's a healthy approach. Yeah. But then I also heard people, especially during the pandemic, who, when there was a lot of COVID denialism and stuff like that going on, who were saying, you people who believe that, COVID isn't real and you believe you do your own research, would you kindly do your own research and invent your own ICU bed so that you're not filling up ours?
Oh, yeah.
Which is...
Good one.
But it's a good one. But anyway, I guess the point is that phrase has a lot associated with it.
Okay. Yeah.
But anyway, I was kind of thinking at the time, but I kind of think, well, I believe entirely now that a plane did hit the Pentagon. I've watched documentaries of people who were there and all that kind of stuff. But
why? Why would you? If something hit the Pentagon, there was a massive amount of damage. There's photographs of a massive amount of damage. Why would you lie about that? Why would you say, "Whoa, it was a missile, not a plane"?
Well, clearly, this would be the theory. Anyway, let's say you're some black ops agency somewhere within the deep state of the government or whatever, and you suddenly hear, everything's grounded, planes are hitting buildings, nobody knows what's really going on, and you think, that department that there's like going to do this leak and all this information, and we're all going to be strung up now for this. Fire hellfire in there, make it look like some kind of plane hit, whatever. Just tell any,
Yeah, but even still, there's like the amount of work required.
But that's the thing. There's no work required. Push the red button, make the missile go.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Push the button.
Yes. Like, I'm clearly deliberately making light of it, but at a very high level, yes, that's all it is. If you are high-ranking enough, and there are people... See, a lot of people think the government is some big, solid entity, one well-oiled... It isn't.
No.
It's a bunch of lots of different people.
I don't think that.
And the left hand does
people
not know what the right hand is doing. And there are people who are operating with almost no oversight.
Yeah, you know what? You know my short answer to all that is, Mert, is like Fleming Occam's razor will say no.
Yeah, and that's fine. Occam's razor is true pretty much all the time, but not all the time.
Yeah, true.
Don't get me wrong. I don't actually believe it, by the way.
No.
But I did consider it at the time.
Did you know that dogs can be left or right-pawed.
Yes,
No.
I did know that. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, dogs can be left or right-pawed.
Oh, I am going to observe
And they
that.
actually only sweat from their paws as well.
Huh.
That's the only
I
point they
also
sweat at.
did not know
sweat
that
from
either.
Their paws. Yeah, I love that one. I love the fact that they kind of clammy palms,
Do you know, speaking of dogs,
spaghetti on their sweater already.
do you remember when Lady Gaga's
Dogs
dogs were kidnapped?
Yes.
And in
Oh,
fact,
yeah.
the dog walker who was walking in them at the time was shot and when they took the dog, or dogs. And I just heard something recently, and I meant to look into it before this episode to kind of have a few facts. I didn't. So I have this vague thing that I heard, but apparently the people who stole her dogs, I don't think she ever paid to get them back.
Yeah.
But they are suing her for, I think, not being paid for them or something like that.
Oh, so they owned the dogs initially and
No,
sold them to her, and she didn't. No.
They stole her dogs. They said, "Give us money, and we'll give your dogs back." They
She
gave the dogs
didn't.
back, and they're like, "Hey, where's our money?
Oh,
We're suing you because you didn't pay us the ransom."
isn't that? But then they're going to have to show up in court, right?
Oh yeah.
Is that when they get arrested?
Well, you see, no, there's three of them. One of them did the crime. The other two didn't know about it, but they just looked after the dogs and stuff, and they're starting to do all this stuff. I think it's just a crazy topsy-turvy
that's
world we live in.
ridiculous.
Yeah. Hopefully, they all get thrown in jail.
Barry, do you have another dog fact for us?
Another dog fact: their noses are wet because of their for helping them catch scents, because obviously their noses are incredibly sensitive, and that's why their noses are red. It helps them smell.
Here's a question to you, Barry and Mart. We go walking with Clover down to the beach, okay? Mm-hmm. And then every now and again, Clover comes across
Clover, your dog?
my dog. Sorry, yeah. So every now and again, Clover comes across this horrific piece of gross matter on the ground. Could be feces or some kind of gross flaming something on the ground. And Clover decides, yes, I'm going to rub my neck onto that thing. Rub it all over my neck, and then she rolls over and rubs it against the other side of her neck. Why do dogs do that?
That's an interesting question. I think I remember reading one time that they roll around and stuff like that, and it's often like other animals' poop, especially I think
Fox poop is what you're going to
fox
say.
and donkey.
I've heard this so often because people, I walk the dogs in the park all the time, and people are like, "Oh, you know, if they roll in fox poo, it's terrible." But it's like,
Apparently
my
they
dog
do
never
it.
rolled in anything
Yeah,
like that.
but apparently they do it. What I've heard now, I could be misremembering this. Apparently they do it because there's something in it that's actually good for their skin. I mean, I can't imagine what or why, and I don't know if that's true, but that's just something I heard.
Okay, so we
yeah.
are pleading ignorance on that one.
Complete ignorance on that one.
Tell me this: if you're looking for suggestions for Christmas presents, I have a few. If you want to go into an episode of Black Mirror, there's a new thing coming out.
Yeah.
It's called the Rewind Pendant.
Okay.
So what it is, it's literally like a necklace with a little pendant that hangs on it. Mm-hmm. And do you remember the episode of Black Mirror where everyone had these ocular implants that just recorded everything that their eyes saw?
Never watched
what
any
season?
single episode of Black Mirror.
Barry
What?
Never what?
Never watched a single episode. I don't actually really know what Black Mirror is about.
Really?
I'm assuming it's a show about mirrors that are
No,
not great
are
for
you-
seeing yourself in them.
Okay.
I did not expect that to shock you so
Yes.
bad.
Okay, so I just thought Black Mirror had become part of the kind of common
Zeitgeist.
cultural the zeitgeist. That's
We
it, yeah.
saw Black Mirror. We saw season 1 and most of season 2, if not all of season 2. But what happened to us is we were waiting to watch it with the kids, and then they were always busy watching other stuff. So basically, I blame Sophie.
No, I mean, for starters, if you say, I don't have time to do something because I was busy doing other things, then you did have time, you just chose to do the other things. Which is fine if that's a decision you choose to
Logicked.
make, but anyway.
You've been
my
logicked.
My point is, and Black Mirror is very high level it here. It's, you know, these kind of anthology series where every episode is a self-contained story, like the Twilight Zone and
yeah,
all those
that's
kind of
the
things,
first
right?
one that came to mind, yeah.
Yeah, Black Mirror is like the modern era, one of those.
Okay.
But it's really exclusively written by one guy, Charlie Brooker, and he used to be writing it for Channel 4.
What do I know
Charlie
that name?
Brooker used to be a video games magazine game reviewer back in like
That's
the
how
90s.
you know him?
In the
what
90s.
else?
Then he went on to every year, and he did other things. Well, every year he would do a kind of a, for the New Year, ringing in the New Year, he would do his Charlie Brooker's 2016 screen wipe. And he would just be the video was maybe an hour long of him sitting on a couch, drinking a cup of tea, just giving out about watching the summary of the year and him giving out. So it's kind of like a early version of these. Yeah, and I don't know what the hell.
Is it the 11 o'clock show? Is it?
No, it's called Charlie Brooker's Screen Wipe.
Oh,
now,
right.
Okay, evidently, Donald just Googled some stuff here. He wrote for the Brass Eye, but we don't need to get lost in the weeds here because I think reading the internet is kind of boring on a forum like this.
Yeah.
But ultimately, he became super famous for creating the show Black Mirror.
Okay.
But the thing about it is, for starters, it's kind of, it takes a, what's the word, negative or pessimistic look at some aspect of technology and makes an episode about that. The name of the show, I don't know if anyone knows, is, you know, the screen of your phone?
Yeah.
When it's kind of in sleep mode, it's like a black mirror.
Okay. Yeah.
And
It is like a Black Mirror.
the kind of credits will roll and you can see the crack happen as if your phone screen has cracked. But ultimately, every episode kind of has a moral of the story. And some of them have already come true. There was one about this kind of comedic animated character that ran for politics and then started becoming popular, and almost effectively that's what the caricature that Donald Trump played kind of effectively worked, that beat all the real politicians with his, you know, I don't care about the system approach. And there's a lot of kind of shadows of things that happen in real life. One episode is about this dystopian future where you're following this survivor in an apocalyptic world, and there's this AI robot dog that's, you know, this hunter-killer machine that's just chasing them through the whole episode. And the dog is exactly the dog that Boston Dynamics. Sorry, Boston Scientific.
They make things that save people's lives.
Yes.
The dog hunts you down and puts a stint into your heart.
Although, yeah, he do perform cardiovascular surgery on you.
But one episode in particular is where the future is set where everyone has this kind of a kind of an implant in their eye that records everything they see all day.
Yeah.
And the whole episode's based around this because it sounds like, wow, what a great technology. You know, you'll never forget anything again. You can play back memories. If somebody passes away, you'll always be able to see them again and all this kind of stuff. It has seemingly positive side effects, as do a lot of all these other. He'll just grab one element of maybe potential future technology and put a negative, pessimistic spin on it. But in this episode, this guy was obsessively focused on looking back on things and looking back on the day he had and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, that's Black Mirror, and that's the episode I'm referring to. But now back to real life, there is the rewind pendant.
Yeah.
And like I say, it's essentially a necklace you wear around
Jesus,
your neck.
yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Yes, sorry, that was a long tangent. But I think you need to know Black Mirror to kind of just appreciate the almost grim humor of how this is becoming real. But yeah, it's just a pendant that hangs around your neck, and it just records everything you say all day. And it will record other people, but they have to kind of get a buy-in. So I think, let's say if I was here and I was saying, hey, do you mind if I, you know, so you might say, Donald, you will say, yes, I acknowledge, or I permit you to record me, or there's a certain phrase that you say, and it'll know your voice, so it'll know save. Anytime it hears your voice, it'll record that too. But you might say, nah, I'm not going to let that stupid thing record me, then you won't be recorded.
But it records sound in general.
But it will record sound in general around it, yeah. Just not other people unless permitted.
So if I go to the bathroom and if I have one of these on, do I have to turn it off or pause it?
I will admit, I have not actually seen any review or summary of this product actually cover the noises you make when you're in the toilet. A valid question. I really don't know. I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
But
you got to think of those.
It's interesting.
Did the manufacturers think of that, I wonder?
I'm sure.
It is interesting. It is interesting. But it does bring up the whole... No. You definitely didn't tell me anything about that thing. Well, just wait and see.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I can tell you straight away there's been a ton of times in my life where, and especially because I have a particularly bad memory, I know I do. I'm very organized to counter that, and maybe by being organized, I'm relying on my organization and not trying to remember stuff and not using my brain, and that's why it's a bad memory. I don't know. But it is true that would have been so useful for me so many times in my life when someone's like, do you remember the time Father Ted and Father Dougal were having this argument? And it's like, excuse me, Ted, I took the liberty of recording this conversation. And he plays his little dictaphone. Yeah. Oh, right. But, you know, it would be interesting. So, yeah, this is the thing. It's real.
But imagine, like, you're wearing that out and about. Like, are you going to say it to the shopkeeper when you're in buying a pint of milk?
Yeah, I don't know how that would work, to be honest. I think it would be better.
If they say it once, that's it, you can record them forever.
I think so.
You know.
But I think the whole element of having to get people's permission kind of makes it less good.
Yeah, but I do know that in certain states in America they're called I think they're called single consent states. That means that if you like I'm okay with being recorded, that means that you can record a conversation with someone because you're okay with it. So
Single consent state, does that
Something
apply to
like
other
that.
things like sexual encounters, or is it just?
yeah, no, it's just conversations. I think.
Oh, right, okay.
Because
That would be interesting.
Yeah. No, I could be misremembering that as well, but I'm nearly sure that's a thing. Which means with that necklace, you just say every morning, "I'm happy to record myself today."
Yeah, that's weird. Okay, so the person that I was thinking of who built the Pentagon is Leslie Richard Groves.
He features in Oppenheimer, that character, I believe.
Yeah, he does heavily, yeah.
Who plays him? Is that
You know who plays him? It's
someone famous?
someone super famous, but it's the guy who is I forget him. I actually forget all the things he's in. But
Okay,
he's
right.
if you saw him you'd be like, "Oh, this person."
Yeah.
I think he's the guy who helps out in Breaking Bad. He's the guy who helps out at the end. You know the way there's a kind of a character who comes in a lot at the end, who's kind of helping in the last season
No.
of
can't
Breaking
remember.
Bad.
Do you mean Mike, the fixer guy? That
No, not Mike. No, not Mike. Anyway,
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. Talk about a black.
Yeah.
Anyway, Leslie Groves Jr., flaming total boss,
Yeah,
literally.
sounds like it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to go back to toilets.
Go on.
Yeah. The Burj Al Arab Hotel has 1,600 of them. No, because we're talking about the Pentagon having
Wait a
280
second.
whatever.
How much?
1,600.
How many did the Pentagon have?
284.
Oh, I suppose.
But I guess a hotel
there are loads of hotel rooms. Yeah.
Wembley Stadium has 2,614 or something like that.
Urinal, like separate toilets.
Just
but
just
there
say
could be
toilets.
like 30 of them in one.
Oh yeah, one row.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you never stand beside someone.
Oh, well, obviously.
Yeah, you gotta.
that's why they need so many.
Yeah, have you ever seen that diagram that shows
Yeah.
where you're supposed
Yeah.
to stand? In
Every
a
man
urinal?
automatically knows.
Yeah,
Did you know that the Romans did use, in fact, a sponge on a stick?
they did, and if you got the
And-
wrong end of that,
Yeah.
you got the wrong end of the stick.
Ah, that's where that comes from.
I don't know.
All right, okay. But
But
they
it-
but they
it'd be
also
pretty shitty, though.
used pebbles, rocks, cleaning themselves. You know, anything that was hygienic. Well, that made them hygienic in the end.
Yeah, as hygienic as they were aware of hygiene.
Did you know that honey never spoils?
Yes, I did know this. That you can get honey that was put in jars. They found it in Egypt and places.
Yeah.
And that's
And the honey's been around about 3,000 years old and perfectly edible,
Yeah.
because honey's longevity lies in its unique composition and chemical properties. In other words, the honey is low in moisture and extremely acidic, making it inhospitable and an inhospitable environment for bacteria and microorganisms, which is what would spoil the normal food, basically, all the crap going into it. I've realized, and this is kind of gross maybe, if
you
you've
produce honey.
no, but I've realized how gross my hands are. Okay, when I make food, I'm extremely
Conscientious.
no. What's the word when you start to like cleaning your hands all the time?
OCD.
Yeah.
Compulsive.
I'm starting to become more and more compulsive about if people touches a spoon, and then if the spoon touches other food, that then we have to throw out the spoon and the food.
Throw it out.
Well, I mean, throw out the food.
Okay.
But so,
you licked and you put.
Yeah.
You licked and you put.
but I've realized if you have a
friend's
bag
quote.
of bag of cheese, and if you reach into the bag of cheese and take out cheese, I don't know if you would do that ever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Loads of times.
Okay.
I do when I'm putting that cheese on food.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and your hands might be clean and all. I've realized that if you do that with cheese, the cheese will go moldy sooner. And you really realize that you're putting this sporous, dirty bag of bacteria you call your hand into a bag of cheese, and all that grossness is going onto the cheese, and then you're locking that up in the fridge and making a little culture, and then the cheese spoils sooner.
Well, they do say something like 30 or 40% of the weight and mass of a human is all bacteria.
Whoa.
Yeah, you are basically a planet that bacteria live on.
Tardigrades.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, tardigrades are class.
Um,
Look up a picture of tardigrades.
Yes.
Do. And you know as well, they're like a microorganism that's known to be the most badass microorganism, well, the most badass living thing ever. They found one that was frozen in a layer of ice that was 10,000 years old. They took it out, thawed it out, it was fine. They brought them up into space and exposed them to the vacuum of space just to see, hey, will they live? They did.
They did.
That's
Not
pretty
a
awesome.
problem.
And just to put tardigrades,
That's how the human race is going to get wiped out.
but how small are these tardigrades?
Well, they're microscopic, so
Yeah.
very.
Speaking of space, do you know that UCD have well now at the time that this is going out, it'll be like 2 weeks old. UCD put a CubeSat in space.
I don't know what a CubeSat is.
Barry?
I'm gonna say it's a satellite that's in the shape of a cube.
Barry's, funnily enough,
Is that
100%
that
correct.
satellite that the Irish government sent up recently?
Yes.
Was from UCD?
Yep. So these CubeSats, like loads of universities and stuff work on CubeSats. The satellites aren't as big as a table or a television or this kind of thing. They're like small little things. So this CubeSat that UCD did, they built it themselves. I'm sure they use obviously little components from other places in the world, but in general, UCD put the whole thing together. They wrote the software for it and all this kind of stuff, and they sent the CubeSat up on a Falcon 9, and the space isn't full. They'll say, okay, we'll take 10 CubeSats on as well.
Okay.
And then they just let out the CubeSats. So then whoever is, whatever the CubeSat is for, they get a ride that way. It's a ride share, it's called.
Okay.
And the CubeSat that UCD put up was studying gamma rays, which is like high energy radiation that comes from big planets and
Makes
stuff.
the Hulk.
Makes the whole thing.
And that makes the Hulk. Yeah. And
need to
so
understand
that's
this.
what they were doing. That's what UCD were doing. So it's cool,
Huh.
Yeah.
And of course, the big thing now at the moment is people talking about how the hell do you get rid of all this shit we're putting up there?
Well,
It's a
what
huge
surprised
thing,
me to hear a statistic, because when you say the shit we're putting up there, like there is a lot of space junk and space debris.
And it's getting
but
worse.
Starlink, which is in other words Elon Musk's internet satellite kind of a solution, has more satellites up in space than all the other satellites in space put together.
What?
And they're still putting them up there.
Wow.
I mean, I guess that's what it takes to blanket the whole Earth in internet. And in a way, I think it's a good thing to have something like that in place. Amateur astronomers are all pissed off because now that's kind of diminished their ability to see off into space just with, let's say, a decent home telescope.
Yeah.
But what's kind of bad about it is, because basically Elon Musk is a private citizen who just decided to do this, and there's no rule or law that says don't put things in space, so he just did. Now a lot of other organizations are talking about doing it as well. I think I heard Amazon are going to do one, Google are going to do one. Yeah. But if you suddenly have all of these other organizations also putting up an equal amount of satellites.
Another mesh around the world.
Mesh, exactly. Now there are three different, well, I guess it's just a human conceptual thing, but there's three different layers of space. There's near-Earth orbit and mid-Earth orbit and far-Earth orbit. I think these are all near-Earth orbit. But
apparently the International Space Station is quite often has to do little movements out of the way of debris.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
you can imagine the speed that these things are traveling around up there. It's hard.
16,000 miles an hour, yeah.
It's hard to us to conceptualize it, to kind of visualize it. But imagine the damage that would do to a space station, especially something that's designed. It has to be designed light because they have to lift it away from Earth, and it can't be big, made out of heavy stuff. So it has to be really, really light, which means it's not very, very strong. Which means if it's hit from a bolt that's only 20 centimeters long, the damage that would do to a satellite or a space station or anything up there.
Or an astronaut that's casually flaming doing a spacewalk.
Yeah, because I'm sure the casual spacewalks are a thing.
Walking the space dog.
So it's a huge problem. And the debris gets worse because you have two old satellites that aren't doing anything anymore or whatever, and they smash into each other. They just create...
Well, the thing is, I think they're particular on not allowing that to happen, but something unbelievably ignorant that the Russian government did is because the new battlefield is going to be space. That's why I don't know if you've watched that TV show Space Force. It's terrible. It's with, Michael Scott from The Office.
Yes,
It's
Steve
that actor.
Carell, yeah.
We watched some of it, but I was like,
No,
But
didn't bother.
but the premise is real, and that's why America have really actually created a space force.
They
Because
have.
It's
yeah.
a
Donald
very
Trump started it.
See, that's what actually gets in my craw. They were doing this, and this was in the works for literally decades, for 2 decades anyway.
Yeah.
And it was finally coming to fruition. Donald Trump happened to be in government at the time and signed the piece of paper to say this goes live. And of course he had to say, but look, probably any president would, but he especially would say, hey, everyone, I invented this. I made this. This is my thing. I invented Space Force. And it's like,
thanks a lot,
geez.
Barry.
But anyway.
Sorry for perpetuating
Oh,
the
no. Yeah, exactly.
false news.
But what the Russian government did is they were kind of testing being able to basically blow something up in space from the Earth.
Okay.
So they just got an old satellite of theirs and just shot a rocket at it and blew it up, which just sent bits of debris. You're talking about, some astronaut left a wrench floating in space in the 60s and it's still there going at 16,000 miles an hour. You blow up a whole satellite, all the bits of that's going to go everywhere. It's just like...
And space is getting cluttered.
Oh, yeah.
There's a huge debate at the moment on how to fix it. They have all these different ideas of setting up like these other satellites that will just fly around and have magnets.
Yeah,
that'll
because
gather up some of the stuff.
there's a side effect of, the movie Gravity with Sandra
Yes.
Bullock? And do you remember, the space station got blown up and they escaped to Mir, and then Mir got blown up and they escaped to the Soyuz, and all these satellites got blown up because there was this wave of whatever came and all. If that happened in real life, the whole of the Earth's orbit would be just covered in debris. So we'd be fine, life goes on down here, but we'd have no space flight, maybe ever again. Because
And we'd also
if-
have no internet or
Yeah.
if
Sending
something
television
happened,
or...
if something happened where there was a cascading effect where all of this
And
debris
we
started colliding into everything and
Definitely
causing more
would
debris.
never get aliens to visit us.
Well, I mean,
Because you're not going to go,
Yeah.
like you're walking down the road and you think, I'm going to call on somebody random person's house and just visit them. And their house, the house is
Full
full
of
of
trash,
rubbish.
yeah.
And you can't get past it because it's just hitting you in the head. You're like,
yeah,
leave
it's
them
kind of
guys
a
alone.
grim.
Yeah, they're the trailer park.
Exactly, yeah.
So that's some interesting stuff.
So that's it. Any other facts about anything?
Well, I was going to give you another Christmas present suggestion.
Okay,
If you're not going to get your rewind pendant.
Yeah.
Well, I actually didn't know this. I heard recently, but apparently they're on version 2 now. But Meta make Ray-Ban glasses. And they have the
I heard
new
about
version
those, yeah.
2 release where you put on these glasses, they're Ray-Ban, so they're stylish, but also they have a kind of a little earpiece built into them. And you can just talk, it hears you, and there's a little AI inside that will talk back to you. So imagine her, but you're not talking to your phone.
But can't they record as well?
I don't know.
Image.
I don't know that. That would be kind of cool, actually. I don't know, though.
Are they like the Google goggle things where...
No, with the augmented reality,
Yeah.
I don't think so. Honestly, all I heard was that piqued my interest was you'll have your AI companion that you can... Essentially, it's like ChatGPT, except you're
walking about with
walking about and just chatting to it and hearing the answer that only you're hearing, not everyone else around you. But hey, all these other
What would be handy is
functions-
if it could pick up the person talking to you and give you answers to their questions.
Well, yeah, but do you know what I did here, actually? And it was Joe Rogan said this, so I don't know how true it is, but apparently the new Androids have this automatic language translation feature. So if you're talking to someone on the phone and they're talking in Spanish and you don't understand Spanish at all and they don't understand English, the phone will translate for them and for you in real time, literally like Star Trek, the
No
universal
way,
translator.
That's really cool.
I've seen people using those kinds of, not exactly that, but certainly translation programs. I saw it down the hospital. I was in the waiting room and I saw an African lady talking to a nurse, and the African lady would say something to the phone and then just go like that, and the phone would say it again in English, and the nurse would go, yes, and she'd say, you have to go out that way, and she was looking for somewhere else in the hospital, and the nurse would say, you have to go out that door and turn right, and da-da-da-da, and she'd have the phone back, and they'd listen to it and go, yeah, and then she very brokenly said thank you, and then walked away, and I was like, that is
We live in the future.
so cool, like, that is so cool. But yeah.
Yeah, so the those glasses you're talking about, Mark, can record a video.
Oh, so they can record what you're seeing.
Yep. Which is why dumbasses beat up other people who wear them.
Why exactly? Because you're being recorded and stuff?
No, because they think that they're recording their kids or that kind of thing.
I mean, I'm not going to say that it's good to beat up anyone for any reason, but, there's understandable concerns if it's recording what
No, these are
like,
people
imagine
who are
if you're-
just like it happened. You know the Google glasses that we used to record?
Okay, go on. I actually didn't really know about them.
Oh
I
yeah,
didn't-
Google Glasses also had a thing, but the record. It was like, remember that episode of The Simpsons where it was like he was wearing Homer was wearing a Stetson. It was like,
Yeah,
could
recording
you
for the
believe
FBI.
that they put a camera in here and the Stetson was like, whoop, this massive hat. But basically, like on these Ray-Bans, it's like the camera is a lot smaller and everything in them and everything. So it's not as
Are
obvious.
they Mission Impossible 1 small?
They're
'Cause they
they
had
are.
glasses that you couldn't see the...
They're not that small, but they're
Couldn't
almost
see-
that
couldn't
small.
see the
It's only
lens
on
at
one
all.
side.
But think if you're walking up the street and somebody's walking up behind you, like with his phone out filming you. You'd be like, "What are you doing?" Now think
Well,
if he's doing it all the time, and
If you're on the phone, if you're on the street, then there's nothing you can really
maybe
do.
it's legally. Well, okay.
there's
Think of a creepy man in a trench coat holding up a phone, filming kids playing in a park. It's a public place; he's allowed. But also, you'd be thinking, "Wait a minute, that's just weird. What are you doing?"
Yeah, and
It
wh-
may
why,
not be-
why are you in the bush?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it's weird. It's
yeah,
creepy.
It is. Definitely.
I was just liking the idea of having your AI assistant that you can talk to. It hears you. It responds back, and no one else can hear it.
Whilst you're wearing a necklace that is recording everything you say as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Recording your craziness as you walk down the road going, hey, what's the population of Catman do?
The only other thing I have to add is I have been using
Cocaine?
Nope, I've been using.
Heroin.
Nope, I've been using ChatGPT 4.
Really?
Yeah.
so you're subscribed to it and you're paying for it?
Oh yeah.
Huh? Go on. Tell
Oh
me.
yeah. Huh?
Oh, no, I saw it. I saw it in action and it's scary.
Oh
When did
yeah,
you see
you
Chat-
have. You
Yeah.
have. Okay. You explain.
I'll tell the story.
How did
Yeah.
you not
So-
tell this before? This is
So we myself and Donna played Dungeons and Dragons together as well, and we were playing the other night, and I had a scenario set up in front of them for the game. It was a battle going on, so I had some terrain and some miniatures on the terrain, and Donald took a picture with his phone and asked ChatGPT to describe it, and ChatGPT said, "This appears to be a tabletop role-playing game battle scenario. It appears that it's a mixture of foam and wood, and that the river that is in it is made from epoxy or from resin. There seems to be a mixture of plastic and paper miniatures, and a load of other things." And it was just like, oh my God, that's from a photograph. It was able to tell all that. It was all
It
perfectly true.
absolutely
Wow.
No.
nailed exactly.
Yeah.
Well, not obviously.
It did.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I
It
don't know
nailed,
if I'm paraphrasing now. I'm not exactly what
it
exactly what
nailed what we were talking about.
Yeah,
like,
it was really impressive. Like what it was able to sell from that photograph. Like.
And like I've used ChatGPT now. I haven't used it usefully, but I've tested it where I've had like food on the table and I've taken a picture of the food with the phone with ChatGPT. Because, okay, to explain something, ChatGPT, when you use it on the phone, it comes like an app, just like any app. You open the app and you have the grey screen of ChatGPT. And there's like, the other way as if you're going to attach an image, there's the little camera icon. But I pressed the little camera icon and it opens the camera and I took a picture. And then there's a little place where you can type beside it. Okay, when you're seeing the picture, and you can say anything. What's happening in this picture? You can say, make this picture look like a Dali picture type of thing. But if you take a picture, for example, of food, for example, which I've done, and then say, what can I do with these ingredients? It'll suggest loads of things. But
Oh, I thought you were going to say that you took a picture of your actual dinner cooked on a plate, and it said, this appears to be a chicken korma.
oh, I did that as well, and
And
it nailed that as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But that's pretty cool if you could just take a picture of your fridge and say, "Give me an idea."
Yeah.
Oh, man, I never even thought of taking a picture of the fridge food.
Sorry, folks. Donald has to go.
But seriously, as in, if you took a picture of the food in your fridge, it would also I would advise everyone who's listening to this, ChatGPT is €20 a month. Sign up for 1 month. That's all, just 1 month, and then sign off. Don't sign up for the second month. I don't know.
Unsubscribe.
Unsubscribe. Thank you. Unsubscribe for the second month. In that 1 month, you will be caught up with the cutting edge of ChatGPT.
Yeah, fascinated though I am by it. I haven't done that, and
Yeah,
I just
I
don't.
won't.
I never use ChatGPT, and it's one of those like maybe you never use it because it's not that good because you're using 3.5. So that there's that argument could be made, but I just don't really have a need for it or a use of it in my life. And much as it'd be a curiosity to see it in action, and I've heard so much about it.
When they start doing free trial, like free
You know,
weeks trial.
you know
I might
why
try
I
that.
signed up for it? Get ChatGPT and use ChatGPT as a coworker. So rather than paying, how much would you pay someone a month?
€1 million.
€2,000 a month. Okay?
Your pay is crap.
Rather than paying someone €2,000 a month, you're paying €20 a month.
Yeah, but you're getting them to tell you what to cook for dinner.
Trust me.
Instead of
Trust
making
me.
them actually work.
I've had people
Imagine
working
if you could give out
for. I've
to your
had people
coworkers,
working
"Hey,
for
make me
me.
dinner."
Yeah,
I've had people working for
not
me
even
who
make me dinner.
did less than ChatGPT for.
Not even make me dinner. It's just tell me what I can make from dinner with these ingredients. And you have
ChatGPT is
sausages
doing
and
all it.
potatoes on the table. You can make bangers and mash.
Anyway, guys,
$2,000 a month. Thanks very much.
that's it. We will
Wrap
talk
it up.
to you in the next episode of Things You Didn't Ask For and Didn't Need to Know. I almost forgot the name there somehow. Thanks very much.
Alrighty. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.